Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. So it's finally time for my guide for Japan. We're going to start in 1936, of course. We're going for historical AI focuses. We're not going for Iron Man mode because I want to have multiple saves. And we can start. Now, before we start with the actual strategy, I will say a couple of things. I've been testing this for the past few weeks. I've been working hard on Japan. Japan is not really my style, but I ended up enjoying it. So this guide will be divided into two parts, and in part one we're going to cover the initial setup for Japan as I did for Italy and Germany. By the way, if you haven't watched those guides yet, don't forget to do so. I will put a link up here. So in this first part we're going to focus on the buildings, industry, focuses, and so on, in order to be ready for the war. Usually my second video in this guide is dedicated to World War II. In this case, it will be also covering the war against China. In the first part of this video, we will cover a couple of wars, one against Siam, and one against the Netherlands, because those are the two expansions that I want to complete before the war tension increases too much and before we dedicate ourselves to China. Before we start, there are just a couple more things that I would like to say. One concerns the Navy. I'm studying the navies. I think I became a little bit better at it, but I'm still not very good at navies. And in addition to that, I don't want to spend my researches on naval technology. So I will only use the Navy when I really need it, only the bare minimum required to succeed for this strategy. This also means that any player can actually do this. It will be very simple to follow, so you don't need to be very good with your navies to succeed with Japan, and I will be proving that to you all. The other thing concerns the overall strategy, and I would like to say there are a couple of things that I don't want to do in this run. Well, people may say in the comments, why didn't you, say, invade the United States early on? Why didn't you invade the UK early on? Well, I know these are viable options. In fact, they're probably the most powerful way to proceed with Japan. But one thing that I don't want to do with these guides is to remove challenges. I want us to face these challenges in the best possible way. I want Japan to be stronger. But invading the United States early on because they are not ready and they are not much of a challenge, it's not particularly fun for me, so we're not going to go for that. The other thing I want to mention is about China. So basically, in terms of focuses, there are two choices, in my opinion, which you can go for. You can try to rush the Marco Polo Bridge incident, which means rushing the war with China and possibly ending the war with China earlier, maybe in 1937, 1938. The other option is, and that's what I'm going to do, to go for national defense state first, before dedicating ourselves to China. And that's what I'm going to do, because it's more my style, not because it's better. The last thing I want to say is, from now on, I will include in the description of my videos the list of researches and focuses in chronological order. So I will include less of them in the videos. I will talk about the most important ones during the video, but I will mostly edit that out. If you want to see the list of focuses and researches, you can do so in the description of this video. Now, all of that being said, we can actually start with the initial setup. Initially, I'm going to recruit 9 infantry divisions and all of the marine divisions available, which I believe is only 3. Now, in terms of construction, originally I was building one infrastructure and 4 civilian in the already developed regions. I changed that strategy because of some of your comments and suggestions, and I believe it's actually better to build infrastructures here because we get extra resources from here. And then we're going to build 3 civilian factories in here. So these are the initial constructions. Okay, so in terms of production, early on, we are going to delete everything except for infantry equipment, 5 production. Support equipment and towed artillery will be at 4. I want 1 train to be in production from the beginning. We may lack trains later on. And then we are going to slowly increase our truck productions to 5. In terms of the Navy, we are only going to reduce the production to 1 of each type. We don't want to produce more than 1. But the ones that are already being built, of course, we are going to leave them there, because it would be a waste to lose them. And then we are going to prioritize, and by that I mean we are going to assign the future dockyards to the smaller boats first. Last couple of things I want to change at the beginning is in trade. We're going to stop importing oil. We're going to lock oil for the whole initial part of the game, and that's okay. And then we're going to buy some rubber. Now, in terms of researches and focuses, as I said, you can find them in the description of this video, but since the first one says the usual, what do I mean by the usual? Well, I mean the electronic mechanized engineering, basic machine tools, construction 1, and then what I like to do is I like to take the range improvements at this point. And in terms of focuses, again, you can find them in the description, but our first priority will be to reach the national defense state. So we're going down this path. Okay, we can start. The next thing I'm going to do, as we get a couple of political power, is we're going to get the docking rights from Germany. Here they are. And we're going to get military access, which also gives us docking rights from Italy. As we get to 30 political power, we're going to take the first special decision with Japan, which is prioritize the steel for guns. This gives us an insane amount of military factories for free, just for 30 political power, so this is very good. In addition to that, it also increases the factory output in, well, trading the dockyard output. Since we don't care that much about the navy, we're going to focus on our army more. That's a very good trade for us. Okay, as we get 3 military factories through the focus, we're going to increase our infantry production to infantry equipment production to 10. Okay, as we get to 150 political power, we're going to take the silent workhorse. Soon the civil war in Spain should start, and we're going to send volunteers to farm some army experience and especially air experience, which we're going to use for our new designs. There we go. Don't forget to send air volunteers, this is very important. And of course, don't forget to actually send your fighters to Spain. Okay, a couple of things though. We got 3 civilian factories at this point, which means we're going to build infrastructures and then full military in Tohoku, in the north of Japan. Right here. The idea is to get even more steel. With Japan, that's the only resource we have available early on. We're going to take full advantage of that. So that's what we're going to do. Now, in Spain, you can micromanage your units a lot more. You can farm trades, whatever. I don't usually bother too much, so I just assign them up here. This is historical, so nationalist Spain will win no matter what. You just give them an offensive order like this, and I just say to attack. And then I just assign to this army our fighters in there on air superiority, and I'm never going to bother with the civil war in Spain again. All we are doing that for is to farm air experience and army experience, so we don't have to worry too much about it. Okay, the next step is important though. We need to justify on Siam. We need a couple more, 3 more political power, so we're going to wait a bit longer. It doesn't matter where you justify, it's all the same. Now, this justification will take quite a long time. It's 190 days, but it may be wise to start preparing for the invasion right away. So we're going to use this army for the invasion. I usually start the invasion from Nagasaki. Then I send another group of 3 down here to take this city, which gives war score. Okay, and then we need to briefly check the navy, because we're going to need our navy for that. First of all, with the navy, I will take away all of the submarines, split them into 2 task forces, and then we're going to take away all of the destroyers. Okay, and what is left, we're going to split it evenly into a couple of task forces, and this is what we're going to use for the naval invasion as well. As we get to 30 political power, we're going to prioritize army aircraft construction, because we get again some good bonuses for our factory output. In terms of the navy, we are now going to finish our ships here, so we're going to build the first one. Then we are going to start making convoys. After these boats are done, we're going to make, well, we're going to assign 10 dockyards to convoys. They will be particularly important later on in the game when we attempt our invasions over sea. And we also have enough air experience to design our first CAS and fighter. So let's do that. This is my usual old fighter design. So we're going to make this first. We're going to assign 5 military factories to it. We don't have them yet, but eventually we'll get them. We're going to assign 2 military factories to it. We're going to join the Anti-Comintern Pact. This shouldn't make much of a difference, but we want to be friends with Germany for later. As we get to 150 political power, we can take the War Industrialist Advisor. Now, the War Industrialist works very well with Japan because we already have a lot of modifiers concerning the military factory construction speed, including this one, total mobilization. So our military factories will be built extremely fast. Okay, we got our claim on Siam, so it's time to start our invasion. Now that we completed this path for its focuses, we're going to start down this one for the Marco Polo Bridge incident. Siam is not really a big challenge, but it may be wise to micromanage your units a little bit down here. To take this stuff. You can also use a force attack if the invasion is taking a bit too long. Now, during the war, probably you will be able to take the indiscriminate conscription, and that can be handy because once we got the total mobilization, the recruitable population decreased, so anything that increases the manpower can be helpful at this point. And as we take this, the war should be over. Yeah, okay, that's done. Perfect. Okay, with Siam we want to puppet them. Make sure to puppet everything and then take the resource rights. That's why we invaded them in the first place. War reparations are always nice as well. And then we can also take their very important navy. Okay, now perfect. Now we're getting the rubber, so we don't need to buy rubber anymore. We do need to buy aluminum, however. We're going to do that. We're going to buy everything from the Soviet Union, because they are the closest to us. Then in terms of buildings, we are going to build military factories in here and here first, because we're already at 100%. And then we're going to increase the infrastructures and build military factories in the places with resources. So here. And here for now. So in Kansai and in Kyushu. And we also have enough army experience to start adjusting a bit our divisions here, our templates. So let's start with the Marines. I actually want them to have a combat width of 10, not 12. So I'm going to remove one. This will be our Marine template. I am also going to give them some support artillery to increase the soft attack. For what concerns the infantry, we're going to remove 3 of them, because I want the combat width to be 21, so this is my usual design. I'm also going to give them some support artillery. For what concerns our defensive units, we're going to increase... no, we're going to decrease the infantry to another 10 combat width. We're also going to recruit at this point an army of defense. Going to make it a full army of 24. We're going to start justifying on the Netherlands as well. We're also going to increase our production to 6 trucks, 8 fighters, and 4 CAS. We're going to take the army morale advisor. We're going to take the ground support advisor. At this point, we also need to start building some forts at the border with China. So we're going to build them here. I'm going to build 3 in each of these 3 provinces. And then we'll also need some planes in here. So we are going to build an airfield, an improved airfield in here. I do want to prioritize these things over other ones. So especially the forts, we want them to be completed as soon as possible. I'm going to send the horse divisions to the border with China as well. They will probably be not required, but just in case. Also, always remember to add more Marines to your trainings as you can, as they unlock. Divisions that you get from your puppets are usually assigned to the protection of the islands. And we also have enough army experience to finish fixing our templates. So this is the definitive motorized one. I don't think we have a... yeah, we don't have anti-air yet, so that's it. They're fine. I will give them some support artillery and engineer company. But okay, now we got our casus belli against China. Here we're going for the new naval estimates. And let's quickly check the claim on the Netherlands. Okay, it's almost done, so we need to prepare for the Netherlands. That takes a little bit of time. It's actually a bit annoying. Okay, so this is how we're going to use our task forces. We're going to send some submarines, a task force of submarines to Siam, and another task force of submarines to anywhere you want in Ethiopia. The access we got from Italy is for that. And they will give us the superiority in all of these regions for our naval invasion. We're going to use destroyers in here. They will protect our trade routes around here. Actually also going to split them. Something like this. And finally we are going to use our bigger fleets up here. Okay, 3 of them, that's fine. So we're going to assign them like this. We're going to use one here. Going to use the bigger one here. And another one here. This way we'll get the superiority everywhere we need it. Okay, perfect. Now, as our divisions here are trained, we'll stop training them. Wait a bit until they recover the organization. Okay, but we're more or less ready, so we are going to declare war to China at this point. When you get available doctrines, always remember to take the spirits first. In this case, we are going to take the aircrew surveys and the centralized control. We're going to wait for the army command because I want to change the land doctrine. I'm going to use the destroyers to protect my convoys around here. To declare war to the Netherlands now. We also want to escalate the war with China every time is possible, so this message, make sure to always click it as soon as possible. And this is also a good time to start creating our agency. I'm going to start producing anti-air, bring it to a production of 4. Okay, our volunteers are back. We're going to use them because, as you can see, they have reached the veteran level, which is very nice. So now we can plan our invasion from Bangkok. So for the Netherlands, what I usually do is I send 4 here. Another 4, the last 2 we have available. We're going to send them here. Okay, so this is the idea with the invasion. These 3 provinces here. Now, thanks to our forts in here, the Chinese don't even feel much like attacking us, and when they do, they just take insane casualties. Okay, we got 150 political power, and we're going to take the Elusive Gentleman as soon as we can, as soon as we're done with the agency. In just a few days. Construction-wise, we're going to build only military factories. We're going to start with the provinces which are already at 100% infrastructures, of course. Okay, I believe the naval invasion is ready to start, which means we only need to assign our fleets. So with submarines here, you want to cover these 3 places. With submarines here, you want to cover these 4 places. With this fleet, we are going to cover these ones. With this fleet, we are going to cover these ones. With this fleet, we're going to cover the last 2 up here. Okay, and as you can see now, we got the superiority everywhere. We can start our naval invasion. And I'm going to do exactly that. They started. Will take them a while to get there, but they started. That's the important part. Now, this is the part of the game in which we run completely out of fuel. And that's okay. We don't care. That's fine. Do remember, however, unlike me, to escalate the war in China whenever possible. Okay, now we get our operatives, and as we get them, we will start spying China. I don't usually do it here, I do it here. Okay, 3 dockyards means we finished our first big boat here, and we're going to make a new one at this point. Okay, so this part is not needed, but what I like to do with my fleet at this point is, and this was suggested by one of you, so thank you, first of all, is we're going to build some heavy ships. We're going to build them with just the heavy battery, the cheapest engine, the cheapest everything, and that's it. And the idea is that this boat will give us naval superiority wherever we need it. Okay, our invasion is almost ready to start, so we'll slow down the speed a bit. This is a decisive moment of the run. Okay, they are defending, so we're going to use the force attack to increase our chances of disembarking more easily. Okay, we got this one, which is very nice actually, and yeah, let's try to push them here. Okay, very nice, we got this one too. Perfect, now we completely disembarked here. It's very nice, of course. Okay, things are going fairly well here. Let's not forget to escalate the war in China whenever possible. Bit confused with this land anyway. Production-wise, we're going to invest in the guns for now. Okay, everything is looking good. Now here we need to be careful because we want to puppet them and we want their resources. This is the most important thing. Puppet and resources. Okay, so it seems like we did it correctly. Let's also get some more reparations. Let's also get the fleet. We cannot get all of it. And get this one. Okay, seems like we did everything correctly. So now we got the Netherlands, and this is huge for us because it means we have an access to the to Europe. So whatever we want to do in World War II, the Netherlands will be our starting point. And of course, we also got all of the insane amount of resources we get from the East Indies. Now we got infinite rubber, basically, and a lot of oil, which is also very important for Japan. So we also don't need to import aluminum anymore. That's very nice. We are no longer importing anything at the moment. We're going to start assigning them an invasion order against China. Something like this. Okay, I believe this is the last escalate war in China. Okay, so now we no longer have maluses against China. And very soon we'll get the technology to start making our tanks. Okay, now there are a couple of things that I want to do. As we get 100 political power after escalating the war in China, I'm going to take the military theorist to reduce the land doctrine cost. And then I'm going to change our doctrine from the Grand Battle Plan to Mobile Warfare. This is something you don't have to do, it's just my playstyle. I love mobile warfare and I love tanks, so I'm going to go for this. And then we're going to pick the motorization drive, and as soon as we can, we're also going to pick the maneuver warfare. Okay, and this technology we just got means we can make our tanks as well. So I will make my usual design for World War II. You already know this design, you have seen it before. I always make this one. It's cheap and insanely good. Well, relatively cheap and insanely good. Of course, we're going to start producing them and we're going to prioritize them. So now no more guns, guns back to 10. We are going to need steel, which we are importing from the Soviet Union. We got our discount for small airframes, so we're going to start researching them. Okay, and I think we can start making our collaboration government in China, so we're going to do that. Make sure to switch your spies to quiet intel network, so they will not be caught while you make the collaboration government. By the way, now at this point of the run, of course you could start rushing China a little bit more than I am doing. I'm waiting for my tanks because I want to do it more efficiently. I don't want to lose too many units in China. But now you could rush China with your regular divisions if you wanted to. So that's an option you have in this strategy. I think we can start making our tank divisions. We're going to make them out of the motorized. So we're going to duplicate the motorized. Okay, this is my usual template. I'm going to give them some logistics as well. Increase the priority to maximum. And we're going to make them. Also, we don't need these small tanks anymore. As usual, we're going to make 12 of them. I'm also going to make another defense. Keep an eye on the manpower. You don't want to run too low on manpower. We'll get it back later, but just in case. We can take our infantry expert here. Now, on 3 dockyards, I do want to make some more destroyers because we'll need them later for to protect our trade. Now we're going to take spiritual mobilization because we are starting to run a bit low on manpower, and this will help massively. I'm going to take army logistics to decrease the attrition, which will be very important in China. Okay, I would say we are ready to start the invasion of China. We have enough political power for Ichigo, and we are ready with our invasion force, naval invasion force. Our tanks are being recruited. They will be there a bit later, but we wouldn't use them for the naval invasion anyway. So this ends the first part of this tutorial, of this guide. This is the initial setup with Japan. Now we are ready in terms of industry, in terms of production, in terms of everything, for the first big challenge, which is China. And then we'll see how to deal with World War II. You will see that in the second part of this guide. So that's all for this guide. If you enjoyed it, please do not forget to leave a like to the video and subscribe to the channel. That will be very important. I just reached the 4,000 hours of videos watched, which is the first requirement to monetize YouTube. I need more subscribers, so please do subscribe to this channel if you enjoy my videos, if you want to see more. If you already did, thank you a lot, and well, I will see you in the next video. Bye guys!